Hey everybody, what's going on? Long time no talk, or me talking at you via electronic device. How is it going? Just want to do a quick little update on another little prop I picked up, the delicious John Long Communicator. And I don't know if I'll do a full video build through the whole thing, as there is an excellent video build by Mr. Trek 64, I think it is. If you look up John Long Communicator tutorial, or Communicator tutorial, maybe it'll come up. I think it's Mr. Trek 64. I'll put a link in the description, and it's a 4-part series. Go check it out. Really good tips on how to build these things. But I did want to do an unboxing, just for those of you who haven't seen it. I have built one of these before, and that would be this one, which is my Gamma, or Star Trek, the making of Star Trek communicator, the one seen in the Stephen Whitfield book. I want to do the entire 10, the original 10, someday. We'll see about that, but if I want to do that, I want to get all the little nitpicky details accurate, which brings me to this guy, and how I am now displeased with it. Since this guy had a steel antenna that was a bit longer, and of course everyone's moire bezel has to be different. Of course they all have to be different, they couldn't be standard. So the one you get with the kit will not work if you want to be a nitpicky jerk like me, but it will work for a certain one, but not this Gamma. So my question is, should I redo this into a different one? Should I try to redo it as the Gamma again? My friend really did an excellent job soldering this lid, so I kind of don't want to take it apart and put the steel one, which I just made a nice frame for. And this one also, this was one of the first ones I made, so it kind of has a Z-bend. This is before I knew what I was doing. I think I cut out the shells before I did the antenna. Pfft, amateur mistake, do the antenna first. So therefore, in order to make this the correct width, I'd have to sand those down, and then there'd be an even bigger gap on the inside, which would look kind of weird. So that's why I'm thinking if I use this one, change the moire, change the jewels, change whatever other detailings, I could make this one of those 3 that aren't really known. You can kind of see them in screen caps. That way maybe I could get away with the Z-bend there. So I don't know. I was also thinking about transferring it over to my D. Stein's Alpha, but also it already has a big gap, and I don't know, this antenna that he made is pretty accurate to the Alpha anyway, minus the flange sitting off the bottom there like that. But oh yeah, I forgot to tell you, so I put a stopwatch in this, and it is so cool. I love that. I also put a new moire in it, which was kind of exciting to do because I managed to get one that's the image setter or whatever, that's like the super hyper detailed one, but they were both clear, so I spray painted the back of one white and then mounted that on the back, and it's so perfect. It's so awesome, although I think it's a little too far. I think I cut it a little too far, but it'll be fine until it annoys me, and then I have another set I can replace it with, but it's still pretty cool. I love it. But regardless, that is that. Oh yeah, there's that. That's also sticking out a bit too far. But yeah, so that's this guy. I'm not sure what to do. Maybe an Eta, Iosha, or Theta. One of those guys. We'll see. But in its kit form, you get a very nice set of instructions. I've already looked through this, so it's not a perfect unboxing. You get a nice set of instructions, a COA. This one's 633. Hey, 633 Squadron. Dun 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 dun. And my other one was 322. So we got that. Then you get, this is kind of cool, a photocopy of the Zeta mid plate and mic plate or control plate, which is kind of cool. And it shows you they had 2 sets of holes, so kind of like me pre-cutting the Kydex, they pre-cut these holes, and then when they got the shells, they realized, oh, it's just a little bit more this way, so then they had to re-drill them. Or maybe it had a different back, who knows. So that's kind of interesting. And then you get a regular paper sheet of moires. This is really nice, however, it would have been cool if it had been printed not on a regular printer. Because you can kind of see the print striations, and somewhere down kind of in the middle of that it gets a little mucky, but the rest of them are really good, so those definitely be good for dummy comms and things like that. And you couldn't really do a hero anyway because you'd need the clear, so one I do want to do, but I'd probably wait until if and when I completed the 10, that rhymes, look at that, somebody did a hero Zeta, and it was so cool. This pattern with a clear one over it, it has these really cool slow moving spider patterns, and I just think that'd be really cool, because there was speculation that the Zeta was a failed hero and it was going to have a light up center jewel. And the cool thing about these shells, which we might as well get to, is the instructions. I don't think there's anything else. I've already taken this apart, but it comes a lot more nicely put in there. Alrighty. So you got your lid, very nice lid, already formed. And inside you get all your bag of parts. I think all this stuff was in bags, but I've been playing with it. You get the these 3 jewels, a yellow, a blue, and a red, which is kind of fun, gives it some variety. You get their slot car hubs, there's a mid-wheel mid-plate, some speaker grill, which is silver. It would have been cool if it was the slightly gold version, but oh well. You get the moire ring, which is like the Zeta version with the 3 notches in it, and kind of a beveled edge there. And then you get the screws, which are Phillips head, gold, round top, and the axle wheel. And there's a stop pin, and the mid-plate, or not mid-plate, what is this called? The thing, control pad. The hole's a little small, so you can either, I got some from somebody on the TPZ. This one I just happen to have, it's a little bigger. I noticed they're a little bit smaller for some reason, which is kind of bizarre. Yes, thank you. Whatever I'm listening to, there's apparently an audience. The hinge wheels, and they both have the places for stoppers in them. Make sure you have them oriented correctly when you solder them in. And a very nice pre-formed antenna thingy. And of course, you've got your mid-plate, which is nicely onto there. Yeah, that's very good. You'll have to cut the axle areas, whatever you want to call it. And also, if you have a hero, if you have a stopwatch with a rewind or back to center button, you'll have to cut out a notch for it. But yeah, so the cool thing about these shells is while the outside doesn't perfectly mimic the original Kydex, the inside shows all the little details of the inside of the real comm this was cast off of, which is really cool. So this cutout is the exact same size, this is the same size, and you notice this little kind of rectangle right here, and on the real one that was cut out, and the theory is that maybe that was going to be for a button which would light up this center jewel, because the Zeta communicator had 2 of the slot car hubs, 2 different versions, but then it also, in the center, had a drilled out one with a one of the smaller jewels kind of glued down in it, so they thought it might be like that emergency effect. You'd press it and it would turn on. The weird thing about Zeta is you only see it 2 times in patterns of force, and it's all disassembled, kind of like, you know, this with some resistors and things in it. And then once again on a table, and it's closed, so it's kind of bizarre. But then it has this, like, again, basic kind of moire that looks kind of boring just by itself, but with that other one on top of it, it looks really cool. This one's also neat. You can see where the bucks of the pencil case thing were put together. You get to see all that. You can see where the what's the word? The axle wheel areas were cut. There you go. So that's really cool. I love that it has the artifacts of the real one on the inside, which is so cool. Now, as far as the Kydex itself, of course it's modern. I think this is more of the vintage look, but there's a way to, if you spray paint it kind of a matte black first and then go over it with some very fine steel wool, you can get that more accurate looking, little matter kind of look, but not like totally matte. So it's got the dimples in there. So very nice kit. Kind of expensive, but very, very good quality. So yeah, I don't know which one I want to make out of this one. I was thinking of making it another Gamma and then converting my other one, since I already bent the steel antenna frame, which went somewhere. Oops. And bending the steel one, whew, that was quite a pain in the ass. Much harder to bend than the brass. But so yeah, that's that. They're not very hard to build up. I mean, my first one I built up in an evening, and that was this D. Stein's Alpha, and I think my second one was about the same. The hard part is doing the lids, so that'll also be interesting to see how well this the steel solders on, because I can usually get the brass to work pretty well. Also, definitely need one of these for drilling into the mid plate, and yeah, like I said, watch Mr. Trek 64's tutorial. He's got some good stuff, so we'll see what happens with it. I'm very excited. Someday we'll do the 10. But on to other random things. Oh, one other quick. Isn't this wonderful to have compared to this thing? Look at that. That's just... ugh. Yikes. Yikes. Why? You just ask why. Diamond Select, Master Replicas, Star Trek Experience. Why did you do that? It's morbidly obese. Anyway, on to other interesting projects. So this kind of worked, but not really. This wood wasn't solid enough, but I saw somebody do this cool idea about making this jig for cutting phaser side knobs, and I tried it, and it kind of worked. It was getting there, but then it kind of went off to the side, and it really didn't work at all. But if I get some harder wood, or maybe it's down thicker into there, hopefully it'll work. But I'm going to definitely try it again, because I really need to make some of these so I can finish off this wretched mid-grade I have over here. If I can get it out of the box. There it is. So, the last thing it needs... what else? Oh. I had to sneeze almost. I also finished up this guy. This had fallen off my shelf like a year ago, and I was too traumatized to work on it, and then I finally got around to refinishing it. It's a Roddenberry Dustbuster Dolphin. Weird. The Roddenberry Dolphins are weird. They come up with this odd cast pewter tip that looks pretty good once you polish it, but it's not even like remotely close to the original one, which is very strange because it's all angular and the real ones were kind of, I don't know, more rounded. So, but it definitely it makes it very front heavy, so I added some weights in the grip just to kind of counterbalance it a bit. So yeah, that's that guy. And I think that's about it. Painting the Han Solo blasters as we speak. Nice matte black, and then we'll weather them and put them together, hopefully. But yeah, if you have any suggestions on communicator conversions or doing anything fun with it, or tips or questions, all that stuff, feel free to message or comment on the Facebook page. But for now, that is all I got. Check us out on Facebook, like, subscribe, all those generic things people say at the end of their videos. So, all right, but yep.